Welcome to match number 2 here at the Hasely Crawford Stadium on day 2 of the CFU Under-14 Challenge Series. Girls, it's a Tier 2 Group A encounter between Dominica and St. Lucia. These two teams are aiming for maximum points here in this latest encounter. And of course, for the ultimate prize, which is to win the tier at the end of it all. Earlier, we would have seen Suriname brush aside Barbados 4-0 in a match that represented a Group B encounter. And now here we are in Group A as we get ready for the national anthems of these two teams. So we have the two teams about to go through their pre-match greetings before we have kickoff here at the Hasely Crawford Stadium. Game 2 on today's program of 3 matches. Of course, don't forget the final kickoff tonight will feature Trinidad and Tobago taking on Aruba, and that's in Tier 1. We'll have a look at the lineups in short order. And there we have them. In goal for Dominica, Isis Hilaire. She'll be protected in the back line by Ronique Edwards, Naya Etienne, Dene St. John, and Enrica Finn. And of course, the midfield will feature Kiara Shillingford, Kaylee Jean-Jacques, Brianna Briggs. The three-pronged attack stars Atara Alfred, number 7, Catalea Luge, number 4, and Yashia Eli in the form of the number 19 for St. Lucia. In goal, Andrea De Caries. Just ahead of her on defense, Aname Louis, Daria Tisson, Vernive Louis, and Joycelyn Neptune. Goes across the midfield, Kayla Toussaint, Anime, Kayla. 2 Kaylas in this lineup. Of course, the second being Kayla Polios and Akala Sam in that midfield. Up top, Sashali and Karima. That's Sashali Mata and Karima Ferguson. So that's the lineups for this next one. Dominica taking on St. Lucia. So whereas we had predominantly overcast skies in the previous matchup, we can tell you that the sun is out in all of its glory and splendor for game number 2. And so these players that are about to kick off, along with the officiating team will have their work cut out in this one. That officials team features Rabia Blinker as the woman with the whistle. She's supported by assistant referee number 1, Mijensa Wrench, and assistant number 2, Shomika Kemper. The fourth official is none other than Trinidad and Tobago's very own Charlize Hood. And just before we come back for kickoff, we'll have a quick commercial break. Stay with us.
It's not simply about how many games you win, but more about how many lives you touch. This is why we do it. Because football is life.
Because we know firsthand the power of football can positively change lives.
Because there's nothing else we'd rather do.
Because our hearts beat football.
Because there's nothing quite like representing your country.
For the love of the game.
Por el amor.
Pour l'amour. I'd leave the war. For the love of the beautiful game.
Looking to put your brand front and center on the biggest screen in the house? That's where Flow comes in. With dozens of networks and thousands of shows, we can precisely pinpoint your customers based on interest and lifestyle all day, every day. From entertainment, sports, news, and foodies, we have them hooked. Contact one of our sales teams today. Flow, giving you a smarter and affordable way to advertise locally and regionally.
Welcome back just in time for kickoff. In this one, remember this competition, the CFU Challenge Series Girls, is being brought to you by the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, and all internet is being provided at every venue by Flow. Just moments away from kickoff, as it's being signaled now by referee Rabia Blinker. In green tops, black shorts, Dominica attacking from left to right on your screen. And from right to left, the team in possession now in yellow tops and black shorts, St. Lucia. First foray forward for them results in a goal kick for Dominica. A bit of a chase is on to retrieve ball.
Yeah, just in the meantime, Jassy, just to have a look at what again promises another intriguing encounter. Contrasting fortunes in their first game yesterday. Both teams were in action. Dominica eked out a 1-0 win at the Atobolan Stadium against Bonaire, while St. Lucia suffered a 7-1 drubbing at the hands of US Virgin Islands. So it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back from that, and the confidence that Dominica would bring to this game, having won their first game.
Yeah, interesting indeed. As we see so far, some very organized lineups, very clear lines, and in terms of how these players will set themselves up. St. Lucia seem to be quite willing to press. They're only leaving 3 back. So it seems as though already they're going to try to get Dominica on the back foot as early and as often as possible.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they maintain their energy levels. We spoke about the weather conditions. The sun has come out. It's scorching here now. They will, of course, benefit from the cooling break, but to maintain your intensity in this heat will be a challenge. But just for the moment, St. Lucia starting on the front foot, taking Dominica back. And that's, of course, I'm sure what their coach is demanding of them as they attempt to bounce back from that opening day defeat. Heavy defeat at that. Yeah, just trying to find some space here, but scramble away by the Dominican back line. Still not out of the woods yet, though. And they do come clear now. Nice little jig to dance around a defender, but just offside. Off on a sprint a little bit too early.
Yeah, important to note that time was that the St. Lucian team was pretty much inside the Dominica half. So the player that time trying to make the run off of them, or off of the back line, was their captain, Kiara Shillingford, and she needed to just hold her run. Or perhaps the pass needed to come a bit earlier while she was still within her own half, but it didn't, and she was caught a foul. St. Lucia now trying to build from the back. This is a ball played out wide now by the Dominicans, asking Catalea Luge to give chase. She sticks to her task, wins it back only momentarily, though, before returning possession to St. Lucia. And now here it is back with Dominica. Luge tries to take on her defender. And here they are now, Dominica with Yashia Eli, just trying to barge her way through. Before referee Blinker calls play back for a drop ball. She got herself in the way that time, and as the rules dictate these days, once the ball hits the referee or the play is impeded in any way by the referee, play must be stopped and possession returned to the team that was last in possession when the stoppage occurred.
Yeah, as opposed to before when the referee was deemed to be part of the game. And then the deflected ball you just play on. Quite a few punctuations for little infringements early on here, so no real flow to the game. But it has been primarily played in the Dominicans half. So good positive start from St. Lucia.
And they have been able to get that ball in and around that penalty area. And they seem to be trying to get it into the feet of... It's quite difficult to make out the numbers. The resplendent sunshine on white text. But I believe the player is Daria, or rather, Sashali. Seems to be their player, their point player in the more advanced area, St. Lucia.
Yeah, another one of those infringements allows St. Lucia now. Free kick in in a decent area. Dominica has retreated quite deep into their own half, into their own penalty area, pardon me. But that free kick is not directed in any way dangerous, so goal kick. Good distance on that one. But into a very crowded midfield area.
So still, while St. Lucia have been able to advance themselves more regularly, those forward areas are a bit too crowded for their liking so far. Dominica would like to think that their game plan is working, getting those numbers in behind the ball at all times. And so frustrating St. Lucia that time. The pass looking for the run of the player along this left-hand side, Akela Sam, was just a bit overweighted. And so it's out for a throw-in to Dominica. Back in possession with St. Lucia now and given back to the Dominicans. And this is a ball played through. Chasing after it. Yashia Eli. Here she is off on a run again, trying to make a nuisance of herself along with 3 Dominican shits. They retrieve possession and then just dwelling a bit too long on it was Luge. Now they're forced backwards. The girls in green. St. Lucia battling away to get possession, and this is a ball played across, but just out of the reach of her forward line teammate, and this time Eli was residing in an offside position. And the referee, Blinker, quick to spot it through the assistance of assistant referee Wrench. Off in the backdrop, we see one of the teams expected to be in the late contest. And that will be between Trinidad and Tobago, the host nation, taking on Aruba. Meanwhile, here comes Dominica on their first real foray foul. This is a strong run. And the shot comes in across goal. It's spilled, and this could be the opener. It is indeed the opening goal. So against the run of play, St. Lucia would have been bossing proceedings up until now. But look at this run as they won back possession. Dominica turned defense into attack. The player off on that run was Karima Ferguson. And her speculative attempt from really a very wide and distant angle was spilled by the St. Lucia goalkeeper Andrea De Caries. And on spot to tap it home was Yashia Eli, number 19. That goal coming in the 11th minute.
That shows you the benefit of following up. Didn't look like there was much of a danger when the shot came in. Oh, chance at the other end. Yeah, back to the goal. It didn't seem that there was much of a threat with the shot as it dribbled across the goal, but the keeper untidy with her handling. And Eli followed up on the shot as every good striker does. And the easiest of tap-ins to put her team ahead. As you said, Jassy, a little bit against the run of play.
Yeah, let's have another look at it. As we saw the player charging down that time, Ferguson. She didn't have much by way of support But she hit it hard and low across the goalkeeper and forced her into the mistake. And there on spot was Eli to tap home into an empty net. At times, St. Lucia trying to answer back through the corner kick. It's well defended and being brought forward now by Dominica, only to be given away. Possession returned. Here's Ferguson. She's a strong runner, that one. She was looking for it. She's asking for it. And the teammates not on the same page. But here they come now, the St. Lucians. This is a good ball, a good entry pass. The first touch takes her away from goal and allows the Dominican defender to get across and do the defending. That's Denise St. Jean. And here they come forward now. The girls in green. This ball is being played toward Eli, but it's cut out. And they win back possession now. This is Lugay. Lugay plays it forward. Eli was just on the back foot that time. She was trying to check her run, maybe drop a little bit deeper to link the play, but the ball was played ahead of her, and by the time she decided to attempt to retrieve it, it was in St. Lucian possession. And they come forward now again, St. Lucia. Good skill. It's a decent pass. Helped wider, but this is Eli. She's off on a sprint. Doing the defensive work that time was Neptune. Here comes the St. Lucians. Ferguson again dropping deep to pick up possession. This is Sam trying to penetrate from, or rather Kayla Toussaint trying to penetrate from deep with her pass. Bit of a game of backs and forths for the time being. St. Lucia trying to bring it under possession. Dominica, though, instead does so, but illegally, according to referee Blinker.
Called for a high foot. Yeah. Set a bit of ping pong in there at the moment. And once again, game punctuated by these little infringements. Not a real flow to the game just yet. What is a feature is Dominican's propensity to break like they can do here, not just too heavy on the pass. So they seem to be, the Dominicans, content to soak up that pressure and use the pace of Alfred and Briggs on the break. That is exactly what has brought them the success and their opening goal this afternoon so far.
So just about 15 minutes, quarter of an hour played in this match number 2 on day 2. This could be a chance for St. Lucia. Defensive mistake and the player unable to gather, but she's fortuitous to have the rebound spill her way. And this is going to be a shot from distance. It's on target. It's a goal. My oh my. What a response from St. Lucia. And that time it looked like Kayla Polius lining it up from distance, and she's the player that has been the focal point of their attack so far. She dropped deep to pick up possession and then let it rip from about 25 yards out. And the goalkeeper for the Dominicans is distraught, Isis Hilaire. She's being consoled by her teammate for letting that one in. And Redanfa, I wasn't of age to be conscious enough, but it was conditions like these, I am told, that the strike squad hearts were broken in 1989, November 19th. Speculative effort similar to that one that crept in over the head of Michael Brown Maurice.
Very similar, but take nothing away from that strike. The Dominicans stood off for her, invited her to shoot, and she responded with a superb strike from distance into the top corner. Keeper distraught, but not a lot she could have done. Outstanding strike from Kayla Polis.
So we've seen already 2 goals in this encounter. Not yet 20 minutes played. A fantastic goal scored by Kayla Polias to bring her team level, St. Lucia. After the opening item for Dominica was tucked away nicely in the 11th minute by Yaisha Eli. They'll have a chance to regain the lead, Dominica, from this free kick. And judging by the run-up,
She might be having a strike.
she might be.
Keeper's not the tallest.
And now she calls her defenders back onto the line in anticipation, and it's sliced into her own net. And is that Polias?
It may have been Nyla Etienne up from the back with that strike.
With the strike, but I think it was deflected in off of Polias, who just moments ago was the goal scorer on the other end for St. Lucia. As we see there, she holds her head in agony.
Yeah, I'm always skeptical about those defenders who get themselves back near the goalkeeper in those sorts of situations. That's exactly what tends to happen in those circumstances. She got in the way of her keeper. Maybe it's just sliced off of her, and the deflection ensured that there was no chance for the keeper to keep that one out. Sometimes I think it's probably just best to let the keeper have their space and have a full view of those shots.
And this is Ferguson giving chase.
Good defending, though.
The ironic thing about that goal, Rodolfo, is that the wall was set, the defensive positions were set, and at the very last minute, 2 St. Lucian players retreated, seemingly to give that added layer of protection to the goalkeeper, De Carries, and
Yeah, it turned out to be self-sabotage, really.
a disaster in the end.
Yeah.
So, as things stand, entering the 20th minute, it's Dominica 2, St. Lucia 1. Who would have thought within the first 5 to maybe even 10 minutes that Dominica would be leading in this one? St. Lucia came out with really clear intent. And as they say, football is a cruel mistress. One goalkeeping error allowed Dominica to take the lead, and then a defensive error gives them the lead again. In the meantime, they line up another
Yeah, no doubt.
free kick, and again, it seems to be
Etienne. lining up
Etienne,
once
and
more.
we know she has the power. Does she have the direction?
It'll be
The
interesting
wall
to
is
see.
quite far off. She does have a strike. It's low, and there are 2 undefended Dominican players there. One of them being the earlier goal scorer, Eli, but she couldn't bring it under control. And now St. Lucia are trying their utmost best to get this one clear. They can't, and it's with Ferguson now for Dominica. She's on the half turn, but it's well defended. Polias, a long way away from goal. Was that a tactical change, or maybe just a bit delayed to get forward after defending that earlier free kick? But she does now. St. Lucia trying to come forward. But we have the first half cooling break now. The players being instructed to remain on the field, of course, while it may be a temporary respite from the conditions that abound, they are not allowed to leave the confines of the field to receive whatever refreshments or reassurances that may be on offer. So it's been a frenetic opening 20 odd minutes in this match so far. One where St. Lucia would have been on the front foot early. But one sniff of the goal, one sniff at goal for Dominica, thanks largely to the running of Ferguson on this near side touchline as she charged down the right side and offloaded a speculative attempt at goal. Andrea De Carey's in goal for St. Lucia, only able to parry it into the path of Yashia Eli to give Dominica the lead. That was in the 11th minute. But by 16 minutes, St. Lucia drew level. Kalia Polius, and what a strike it was from about 25 yards out. She lined it up, and there was only one thing on her mind, resulting in the equalizer coming in the 16th. But just 2 minutes later, she went from hero to villain, trying to defend a free kick, and only managed to slice it in past her own goalkeeper for an own goal in the 18th minute. That has the scoreline as it stands. Dominica 2, St. Lucia 1 here at the Hasely Crawford Stadium. A really unfortunate series of incidents that time. Dominica now. This is Luge. She can't control it. She's being harassed by Kayla Toussaint for St. Lucia. This is a good turn, and they're trying to get onto the front foot again, Dominica. And you see, as immediately as the ball is played forward, the entire defense pushes up onto the half line. So again, it seems very clear, very obvious that they are trying to make that playing space as compact as possible to smother any space that St. Lucia may be trying to work. As we see this time, Ferguson again putting her body in to the challenge, unafraid to do so, but a bit too forceful that time, according to referee Blinker. And so it's a free kick to St. Lucia.
Yeah, she's put her body about in that midfield. Shows good pace on the counter attack as well. But Dominica look well drilled. As you mentioned, they do keep their shape well. Seem pretty well organized. Decide to defend a bit deep on this corner, on this free kick. And as it fell to the striker, unable to get it past the goalkeeper. Weak team effort in the end. Shot it into the ground. That took the sting out of the shot. That's a decent chance, and she may have another one here. Better strike this time! And it flew past the goalkeeper, the hapless goalkeeper, who didn't even make an attempt.
And it's Polius again. So she had a crack from distance a while ago that flew in. And just moments before this goal, she was maybe about 8 yards out. Couldn't get the connection that she wanted. But it's clear again that she loves to have a goal. She loves to put her laces through it. And that time, that ball just nestled into the bottom corner for already the 4th goal of this encounter and the 2nd equalizer for St. Lucia.
And if you don't succeed, you try and try again. That's exactly what she did. She has a penchant for long-range efforts. Exquisite strike into the far corner. It's another one. This time fielded by the goalkeeper.
And in a manner of speaking, Redanfer, she already has a hat-trick. 2 goals at the right end and 1 at the wrong one.
It'll be harsh to give that as an own goal. Maybe she could get a hat-trick on the right end before this game is through.
Here she is. Here's Polius. And of course, privy to what she offers in and around the area, the Dominican defense taking no chances.
Good intervention by St. Jean. Just in the nick of time. Yeah, contest that is really bubbling. Good one for the neutrals.
And speaking of neutrals, there are already a few supporters trickling in. I would imagine for the later affair, that's TNT taking on Aruba. Earlier in the players' tunnel across from our commentary position, we would have seen both teams arrive. They had a look at proceedings in this one before retreating supposedly to the dressing rooms. That match is at 6 p.m. But for now, it's 2-2 between Dominica and St. Lucia here at the Hazley Crawford Stadium in a match that has already lived up to be all that it promised before kickoff. St. Lucia now having some defending to do. They're being swarmed by 3 Dominican shirts, and this is a ball played through. Ferguson, my money is on her to get on the end of it. She was in an onside position. She's bearing on down on goal, Ferguson, and a good save by the Carries, but it's still alive for the Dominicans. That time the shot not powerful enough to get onto the target, and that was Dominica's Briggs. Here she is again. Still alive for Dominica. St. Lucia will get it away now. Polias working her magic. She has 3 in support. She tries the reverse pass, but this is a good recovery by the Dominican defender. But it's back with Polias. Picks the pass inside now. She's asking back for it. She gets it now. Polias skips past one challenge. She's asking for a foul, but the referee says nothing given. This one is turning out to be quite the battle between these two teams. As we have a look at that chance earlier. Ferguson, she did everything right. A good first touch. Just couldn't pick a side. And really and truly expect the Carries to make that save.
Yeah, good save. She didn't go down too early. Covered the angle well.
Things becoming a bit physical. You saw that time the challenge coming in on Dominica's Denis Saint Jean.
Yeah, the referee just telling Kalasam to just tone it down a bit. They're both going full-blooded into their tackles, 100% given by both teams. And at this point, I'm sure they both sense that if they could get 3 points from this one.
This is a good ball forward, but Polias is aware of it. She's deep into her own half. She is that time to clear it away, and although she concedes a corner kick, is it? Throw in. It's all they can ask for. St. Lucia, she showed up for class today for sure. And that's a throw in, a foul throw. Called by referee Linker. This time, this one hits Polias. She didn't know too much about it, and it's out for another throw into Dominica. This is Captain Shillingford. It's through, beats everyone, and runs out for a St. Lucia goal kick.
Good idea, but not on the same page as Briggs.
Meanwhile, news from the Larry Gomes Stadium, the Trinidad and Tobago high performance team taking on Dominican Republic that is, and it's the Girls from the Dominican Republic with a 6-0 lead. Of course, that's action in Tier 1 of this competition, Group A. So the Dominican Republic bossing proceedings at the interval. They lead Trinidad and Tobago's high performance team 6-0. Back to action here at the Hazley Crawford Stadium in Port of Spain. It's locked at 2 apiece between Dominica and St. Lucia. Here come the St. Lucians. Ball just won't fall for them. It does now, and having a shy at goal is that time Catalea Luge. Or rather, it's for the St. Lucians was Sashali. Here they come again. Sam loses out, and it's Briggs coming forward for Dominica. It's going the other way now. This is Akela Sam. Oh, and that's a good shot. Reaction save, and Sam is bundled over. Referee Blinker points to the spot. And it's a penalty awarded to St. Lucia. I don't see much wrong with that decision. As the initial shot came in and there was a save, as we look at it again, Sam just laid it off to her teammate on the inside. And as she was trying to get on the end of the rebound, bundled over in the area by Dominica's Enrica Finn, resulting in a penalty being awarded to St. Lucia. And who else to step up and take that responsibility than Polius, the player who is on a hat trick for St. Lucia?
Yeah, it was her that had the initial shot that was fumbled by the keeper. Chance now here for her hat trick.
And what a shot! She packs a punch. I tell you that. Very diminutive in stature. But boy, does she give it a whack.
Yeah. Blasted into the roof of the net. No chance for goalkeeper Hilaire.
And I'll tell you what, not many goalkeepers would save this one, Rodolfo.
No, not even at the highest level.
Not even. St. Hilaire again is left torn after conceding a third time. But as I was saying a short while ago, no shame there at all. It was a really good penalty kick. 2 minutes additional time at the end of first half play.
What a time to score. What a time to take your first lead of the afternoon. St. Lucia. Dogged performance from them. And of course, the quality from Polius has put them in front just before the break here.
Yeah. The first lead of the match, as you would have pointed out. And it comes just as they are going into the halftime interval. No better time, as they have all the momentum going into that break. While it's Dominica trying to figure out where they would have gone wrong.
Yeah, they got to get a handle on Polius. That's the first thing. She's popped up everywhere, and here she is here. Decent ball in the box. Oh, boy. A little bit of a spill from the keeper there. But they smuggle it clear.
Only just. Referee Blinker coming to their assistance, the Dominicans, with a timely whistle for a foul. It's going to be Etienne trying to get it clear of the lines. Similarly to Polias, we know she likes to hit them and she gets it upfield. This is now Briggs. Briggs on the turn. She just hustled and harried. St. Lucia well aware of the threat that she poses. And here they come now, the Lucians. This is Sam trying to wiggle free. But she's well defended by Finn for another throw into St. Lucia. So a first half that has really had a little bit of everything. We've seen goals, we've seen saves, we've seen tackles flying in. And at the end of the first period, we've seen St. Lucia come back from trailing twice in this one to go in at the interval with a 3-2 lead. We'll take a break in this broadcast and come back with build-up to second half action in a short bit.
Ready now. Ready now. Ready now. Who kick it down? Who lift the dream? Caribbean girls, they never give up. Kick it like a champion, girl, rise up. From the sunshine shows we light it up. With dreams in our hearts and strength in our souls. We kick it like a champion, we run the world.
Not simply about how many games you win, but more about how many lives you touch. This is why we do it.
Because football is life.
Because we know firsthand the power football can positively change lives.
Because there's nothing else we'd rather do.
Because our hearts beat football.
Because there's nothing quite like representing your country.
For the love of the game.
Por el amor.
Pour l'amour. I'd leave the war.
For the love of the beautiful game.
Protection that moves to your beat. Protect your home with Armor Security. With 24/7 monitoring, instant alerts, motion sensors, and rapid response, you and your loved ones stay protected day and night. Sign up for the Protector or Commander package today and get a free security camera and installation. Armor Security, powered by Flow, in partnership with All Pro Security. We keep your rhythm flowing. Visit us in-store or online at discoverflow.co for more details.
So we are back here at the Hazley Crawford Stadium for action in this Group A Tier 2 encounter between Dominica and St. Lucia. Currently, the St. Lucians, they hold a 3-2 lead with a hat-trick scored by their number 11, Kayla Polius. This is the 2025 CFU Under-14 Challenge Series Girls, being hosted right here by the home federation, the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, with the internet at all venues being powered by Flow. We thank you for joining us. Remember, FIFA and CFU are partners on this initiative. And of course, it is all geared toward the development of women's football in the region and beyond. CFU is collaborating with FIFA for an expanded Challenge Series program. The Challenge Series is designed as a development tournament for players, referees, and coordinators. This year's edition includes capacity building workshops, female athlete health education, and a research survey. More than a competition, the Challenge Series is a developing athletes, administrators, and communities, as well as enhancing the tournament experience for all of those involved. And certainly it has been a tournament, quite a tournament so far. On day 2 here at the Hazley Crawford Stadium, we've seen victory earlier today for Suriname, 4-0 over Barbados. And in this one, about to resume with second half action, St. Lucia 3, Dominica 2. Dominica about to make a wave of substitutions. Keep your the players coming in for Dominica. Number 3, Kayla George. Number 9, Amia George. And number 10, Ricara Prescott. The players leaving the field are their captain, actually, Kiara Shillingford, number 18, being one of them. So 3 players in, 3 players out for Dominica to start this second half.
Yeah, hard to decide what to expect here. I think what's fair to expect is goals, more goals, that is. It's been open, it's been entertaining. Seesaw battle here against 2 teams that are fairly evenly matched. Judging by what we've seen in the first half, contrasting styles, but making for a really intriguing contest. One that's provided 5 goals in the first half and a slew of chances. Great entertainment for the neutrals.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you, Radanfa. It's been quite topsy-turvy sort of first half. Either team grabbing control in periods. And so, for the time being, St. Lucia, though, able to grab the game by the scruff of the neck in this one. As we see one of their substitutes, they've actually made 5 substitutions. Nikel Christiana Hector, number 11, has come in and is trying to make some kind of impact as well.
Yeah, we talk about the hectic schedule that is part of this challenge series. Makes rotation of your players really, really important. Keeping everyone fresh. And of course, as you mentioned, Jassy, giving as many girls an opportunity in the limelight as possible. Hefty bump. On Neptune. On Etienne, rather. She's a tough customer.
Here they come again, Dominica. They're chasing this match, and it seems as though Polius, has dropped into a right back position.
Even in the first half, she's already covered every blade of grass. But perhaps she's been asked to play a slightly more defensive position in order to perhaps defend St. Lucia's advantage.
This is Briggs storming away on that right-hand side as she did all first half long, and a good cross and a bit of a shaky collection there by the Carries, but eventually she makes good. It's well controlled. It's foul now for the Dominicans, for the St. Lucians rather. Robust defending, and this is Prescott trying to free Kayla George. But Daria Tisson steps in, and George just sticks to her task, and she's trying to get away still, George.
Oh, that's outstanding from George. Little George, diminutive up against much larger opponent. But that tenacity sticking in there, battling away at 2. Eventually conceding the throw.
Here come the St. Lucians. This is a good ball by Sasha Lee. All the way over to that time she was trying to invite Sam into the play. So quite a few substitutions as mentioned by Dominica. As we see this latest free kick for St. Lucia being attended to by Verine Louis. It's only as far as Prescott. Prescott now launches the Dominicans forward through Briggs. Briggs out muscles her defender, illegally so. And referee Blinker awards another free kick to St. Lucia.
Dominica, of course, trailing. They have introduced some more attacking-minded players from the bench. The number 9, Amia George, is up now to support Briggs and Prescott. They look to have those 3 attackers positioned as high up the pitch as possible. Looking to get on the end of these long balls, but well dealt with by Polius of all people. It does look like she's now been withdrawn from her more attacking position to aid in protecting this lead.
This latest throw in for Dominica. Partially defended by St. Lucia, and it runs out of play now for another throw in to the Dominicans. Of course, always involved for them is Briggs. She fetches the ball and gets it back now to her teammate. This is Prescott. But they are able to bring it away, St. Lucia. Just barely. This is George. Kayla George. Kayla George wiggles for a shot. Gets it off, and Mia George is trying to follow up, but the carries is safe enough this time. They come again now, Dominica. This is a good exchange of passes, and it's running loose, asking the carries to come forward again and claim.
Away. Sam up against 4 green shirts. Eventually loses out. Griggs just running out of real estate.
Interesting enough, Dominica have changed all 4 of their attacking players. Number 11, Nickel Hector, has come in for Alfred, who was deployed along the right, but Hector now taken up a more central position. Here she is now. This is Kaylee Jean-Jacques and Kayla George, who's now operating along this left-hand side. Quite a handful. She earns a free kick out of it. The St. Lucian players look on in disdain at referee Blinker's decision. Ricara Prescott, another one of the substitutes for Dominica, who's joined proceedings. And up front, number 9, Amia George. Meanwhile, this is Etienne with the free kick.
We know we can strike it. She can strike it. Again, curiously, a player has gone back on the line to cover that back post area.
Polius would be wary. It was a similar position in the first half.
Yeah.
Where she sliced one past her own goalkeeper. This is Etienne. The wall is moving. That's a first. And it does its job in the end.
In the end, yes. Curious as she was approached and they began to retreat. But what that does when you get players back on the line to cover the goal, it allows the attacking team to get closer to the goal as well, and this offside doesn't come into play. Just as we look at that replay of the retreating wall that eventually gets in the way. Still have to deal with this corner though.
It's going to be Etienne from this near side. She swings it one in. This is a good looking one. It strikes an arm.
Surely, yeah.
And surely referee Blinker was
spotted it.
Bound to point to the spot. The player knew immediately once it struck her arm that she was in trouble. As we look at it one more time. Oh, stone cold decision.
She stepped in front of the attacker. All good up to that point. Then she stuck her arm out and left the referee with no choice but to point to the spot. It's a substitute to take. And she's dispatched it despite the touch from the keeper. There's enough power to get it past her. Kaylee Amaya Hussey, standing captain. She's off the bench to draw her team level. Valiant attempt.
Authoritative, that kick.
Yeah, valiant attempt from the carries, but didn't get enough on it to keep it out. And this seesaw battle continues. Dominica have drawn level once more.
Olias is going to line up a shot from the touch off.
That is ambitious, to say the least.
Meanwhile, this is a goal kick to Dominica. St. Lucia is standing off until now. The player, or the most advanced player for them, Anime Louis. Dominica come forward now. This is Hector. Hector spots the run of George. Kayla George on this near side. She's all alone. Again, valiant retreat and defensive effort there is what you want to see.
And really good recovery. George was away momentarily.
It's Hussey.
Could be away again. Heavy touch though.
Briggs. We've not seen too much of her in this second half, but here she is on one of those rampages. And this is going to be a shot, is it? I think it was a cross. Goalkeeper De Carey's not convincing. And on the follow-up, Briggs unable to bring it under her spell as it goes out for a goal kick to St. Lucia.
Yeah, the influence of Briggs on that right-hand side for Dominica has waned as the game has gone on. But there's a snippet of what she can do. She's a strong, powerful runner. Though the cross come shot wasn't that accurate, she still poses a threat with her pace.
And she's having another crack. It's only partially defended. And this could be another goal for Dominica. De Carey's put her body on the line. This is Kayla George. It's defended, and it's going to be another throw in to Dominica.
Roles reversed in the second half. It's now St. Lucia who are sat deep. They seem to be tiring a bit.
So look, that shot was really speculative. Only half cleared, and De Carey's, with the assistance of her defender on the line there, Neptune, I believe it was, able to keep Dominica at bay.
Falling through, I believe. Thanks.
Player coming forward to take it is Ronique Edwards. She's going to attempt to go long, aiming this one at Kayla George, who's onto the end of it now. Turns a defender nicely, cuts inside. Tenacious player is she, Kayla George. This now is Etienne. Plays this one through, aimed at Amia George. But it's brought forward by Colias. Colias could be off on a run here. She does well enough to earn the throw-in.
Yeah, she's looking for some support. Trying to find a pass. Not much ahead of her. But yeah, as you said, it does early throw.
Oh. But it's given away. This now is Prescott, spreads it wide to Briggs, who's galloping forward. Again, she just throws her feet at it, and De Carey's very uncertain. Very nervy moment for her that time, but she's able to scoop it up on the second attempt and save herself and the team any embarrassment from this. Now is Hector. Hector has three defenders in front of her, but she's taking them all on. Nickel Hector plays this one back to Hussey, who lets it run to Etienne. Etienne is perhaps in two minds as to whether she wanted to have a shot or try to just float that one over the top and invite one of her attackers to chase. In the end, it's out for goal kick, St. Lucia. So, Rodolfo, we've had just about 53, 52 and a half minutes played in this affair. And as you promised, leading back into the second half, there would be goals, and there have been 2 in the second half already. As the scoreline now reads 3 goals apiece.
Yeah, it still hangs in the balance, but Dominica definitely looking more likely.
This is Jean-Jacques. Yes, this one to Prescott. Prescott is having a shot, and Polias is there. Sam. Akela Sam. Now is Sasha Lee. And they're trying to mount an attack here, St. Lucia. That time, Kayla Toussaint unable to chase it down. She would have been the guilty party for the handball, which led to Dominica's equalizer.
And some of those St. Lucian players look weary, and a couple of substitutions being prepared. Of course, as we mentioned, Dominica made 5 substitutions, so they would be the fresher of the 2 teams at the moment. I reckon it's probably time for St. Lucia to do the same. Smart turn. Good spot wide. A little bit of space opening up here now.
It may have been a missed opportunity by the St. Lucian technical staff. Dominica started this half with no fewer than 5 substitutions, which is as many as you're allowed. So they took the opportunity to clear their bench, as we say. And it's worked out for them quite well.
Yeah, they do look more energized. They're quicker to all the second balls. Just sharper about everything that they do.
Polias unsuccessful at the first attempt with the corner kick, and she's again retrieving possession and earning another throw in for her team. So she's choosing her moments. She's certainly retreated to a more defensive position, but she's coming forward on set pieces, as we see 2 substitutions for St. Lucia. The player coming out, number 7, Kayla Toussaint. And she's being replaced by number 9, Kiana Jean. The other player leaving the field is Karima Ferguson. And coming in, number 17, Lacey Popo.
There goes Briggs. Good pass, smart pass. Could George just wriggle free here? Excellent defending. Got her body across. Earned the foul. Terrific defending to keep George at bay. Here comes Dominica again with Briggs. Yes. Soars into that far corner.
She's deserved it.
No doubt about it. And a little jig to celebrate her fine strike. no less than she deserves for her endeavor. Squeezing past 3 fatigued St. Lucia defenders. And a shot flew into that far corner. Superb finish.
Just on the brink of the cooling break, which is signaled now by referee Blinker.
Yeah, a cooling break that St. Lucia desperately needs to regroup, probably to rehydrate. Because they look a spent force at the moment, and Dominica really stamping their authority on this game now. Hold ahead.
Yeah, St. Lucia, they were able to find a burst of energy that gave them the lead going into the halftime interval. A 3-2 lead then, but since then, since the resumption, it's been all Dominica. And one would say inspired by that scrap of substitutions, 5 of them to start the period. All 5 of them have certainly had their influence on this game.
Yeah, they just look fresher and sharper in all that they do. Contrast that with St. Lucia, who on the back foot just look weary. They look battle weary. Sun has taken its toll on them. Of course, there's second game in 2 days. Same as Dominica, but have they rotated their team enough to keep their players fresh enough? Just a final tactical tweak. What will St. Lucia's coach do now with the influential Polius? Is he going to keep her in that reserve position, or is he going to now, as she was playing in the first half, let her be advanced, let her dictate that attacking role, let her be creative and possibly create some chances and help them to get back in this game? That tactical switch has invited Dominica forward, has pegged back St. Lucia, and that's resulted in them being able to reverse the score on St. Lucia.
I can't help but think it might have been a premeditated move coming into the period with a 3-2 lead.
Yeah.
You know, he would have perhaps seen an opportunity to withdraw Polius into a more defensive player. She is their best player so far, hands down. But he certainly did not anticipate, or she rather didn't anticipate, that Dominica would have made 5 substitutions, 4 of them to freshen up the attack. So whether you had Polius and 4 more like her, the fact is she would have been having to defend against 4 fresh players.
Yeah. And just to resume this final 15-minute period, Polius has, at least for now, seemed to have adopted the advanced position that she was in the first half. She does cut a sort of frustrated expression at the moment, though. But they're definitely not out of it yet. They battled back from 2 goals down. Yeah, it's 61 minutes later, but from the bench, they must get those words of encouragement, those words of belief to try to drag themselves back into this game. Still time enough to do so.
They'll have some defending to do here, as it's Etienne with the free kick and it's the Carries with the save. St. Lucia now, they're willing themselves forward. Dominica just able to force them onto the back foot. This now is Hector. This is a good ball looking toward Kayla George. The offside flag is up, but the referee doesn't spot it just yet. She does so now. George was looking along the line, but she didn't hold her run sufficiently to receive the pass in an onside position. And now they'll have free kick, St. Lucia. It's Polias. So just as we thought that she may have been picking up a more advanced role, she's all the way back. She's their most withdrawn player, as a matter of fact, taking free kick responsibilities. And as they are sort of bundling their way forward, they would hope that chances like these would fall to a player like Polias, but she's all the way back about midway into her own half.
Yeah, she's almost playing as a centre back at the moment, and I can't see them getting back into this game if she's not part of that plan. So it's a curious decision to keep her so withdrawn. She will have to do some defending against George here, and she does. What a tackle that is.
She really is a warrior.
Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades.
She's the best attacker. And judging by that tackle, seems to be one of the best defenders on the pitch as well. Fine talent, she is.
She seems to be grimacing a bit.
Yeah.
Which will be worrisome to the St. Lucia technical staff, but for now she's carrying on. Holding that lower back area. Wincing a bit in pain as they get ready to defend this corner kick. St. Lucia. Etienne is trying to spot it. The ball just won't cooperate with her. It's a low one. It's brought away now for St. Lucia. And that's Hussey just huffing behind it, and it's out for a goal kick to St. Lucia. So 5.5 minutes of normal time left. Can St. Lucia for a third time in this match draw level, or second time rather, can they pull themselves abreast of Dominica? Or will the young ladies in green be able to hold out this result to the end? Substitution for Dominica. Kaylee Jean-Jacques is the player being withdrawn. And coming in is Rachel Semper.
You see in that St. Lucian bench urging their players forward for one last push in these final forward minutes. Have to go for broke now if they get anything out of this game.
Again, Redanfa, this is the kind of positions that you would like to see a best player featured in. And here she is. She herself is urging her team to get level with her in anticipation of playing the offside trap. It's not needed that time. But here they come now, St. Lucia. Briggs is doing some sturdy defending. Still not quite clear. They're getting in each other's way, St. Lucia. This will be a shot from way out, and it's expected to be a routine save for previously distraught Isis Hilaire.
Hasn't done much in the second half at all. She'll be grateful for that and hope it stays that way. the next 5 minutes or so. And if it does, it will earn Dominica a second win in this Tier 2 Group A. And put them top of the group. They still, of course, have to play St. Kitts on Sunday. They get a day off tomorrow. And Tuesday, they have to face the U.S. Virgin Islands, who put 7 past this St. Lucian team.
This could be troublesome, but it's well navigated in the end by the penalty scorer for Dominica, Hussey, the stand-in captain. The St. Lucians are trying to mount something now. This is a ball looking for Popo. It's cut out by Hector. Etienne gets her legs in a twist. And then it just runs out of play before Popo can get onto the end of it for this latest goal kick to Dominica. So after a thrilling first half and even following along those lines early in the second period, it's sort of wilted into a quite pedestrian affair. And I can tell you, Polius has stepped forward a bit in anticipation maybe that this goal kick doesn't go too far and they can press St. Lucia. And here they are now trying to get Polius on the go. That's a strong challenge. Polius now, again, just can't control it. And this is going to be a race on. This is Amia George has broken free for Dominica. Amia George. Well defended.
Yeah, she kept pace with her well. Stuck her foot in and even got the deflection off of the attacker, so she earns a goal kick. And maybe time enough for one last constructive attack. Polius has stayed forward. The race was on. George seemed to be favorite until that final foot was stuck in by the defender. And it is indeed 1 minute of injury time left. For St. Lucia to maybe grab an equalizer, or yeah, there is a corner, or for Dominica from this corner to get an insurance item.
Yeah, the player that time coming in with the ball loose was Ricara Prescott. Forced a deflection, which now leads to a corner kick to Dominica, a chance for them to put some daylight between themselves and St. Lucia. They already lead 4-3. One more wouldn't hurt has certainly got to be there thinking. But St. Lucia defend well. This is Polius now. Can she conjure something magical? The Dominican defenders are lining up in front of her. She's asking for a free kick. It doesn't come. And now Dominica are coming forward again. Polius picks it up. She's running out of time. She'll certainly have to go it alone if she's to... and she's brought down by Hussey.
Still time.
Taking away though.
The St. Lucian bench is flagging everyone forward, and that's exactly what they should do. No doubt this is their last chance. Doesn't fall to a yellow shirt though.
And that is the final whistle here at the Hazley Crawford Stadium in this one. Dominica able to come away with a 4-3 win over St. Lucia in this Tier 2 Group A matchup here at the Hazley Crawford Stadium. And I'll tell you what, it certainly was a match, evenly matched clash between these two units. And it swung one way and then the next. Dominica into an early 2-0 lead, but St. Lucia able to claw themselves back and even take the lead themselves heading into the interval. And then in that second half, though, Dominica, a renewed force with a wave of substitutions, regaining the lead for the final scoreline, 4-3. We'll take you through the highlights of how this one unfolded here at the Hazley Crawford Stadium. And it was early runnings for Dominica, a shot coming in that time by Brianna Briggs, and only partly dealt with by Andrea De Caries in goal for St. Lucia before Yaishia Eli was able to tap in for the opening item. Then the equalizer scored by that player, Kayla Polias, for St. Lucia. But Dominica came back again, and Polias it was, getting a decisive touch into her own net to make it 2-1 in favor of Dominica. Redemption was on her mind, Polias, and she had this shy from just outside the area, able to nestle it into the back of the net for another equalizing goal. And then Briggs breaking away, but unable to beat De Caries. Things progressed nicely in this one before this moment. A shot coming in by Polias, and then the foul on Kayla Sam on the follow-up, resulting in a penalty kick which Polias dispatched with some aplomb to give St. Lucia their first lead in this one, 3-2 heading into the break. In the second half, Dominica came out like a team possessed. One of their substitutes incoming was Kayla George with that shot, and then a corner kick swung in by Nyla Etienne, which struck the arm of the St. Lucian defender, resulting in a penalty kick which was dispatched by Kelsey Hussey in the 46th minute. And then the game winner, Brianna Briggs, popping up with that one in the 58th. A deserved goal for her, and the winner indeed for the Dominicans to come away with a 4-3 result in Group A of Tier 2. We'll take you pitch side now, where Rodolfo has the player of the match.
We're here with Kayla Polias, player of the match. Hat-trick today on the losing end, unfortunately. How do you feel about your performance?
My performance was very good. I like how my players play, and I was waiting for us to win.
Yeah, looking forward to the next game. What do you think your team has to do to get a better result?
Passing the ball forward for me.
Yeah, Kayla, outstanding today. It was a joy to watch you play. All the best in the games ahead.
Thank you.
Really good, man.
From player of the match, Kayla Polias from St. Lucia. Although she ended on the losing side today in a 4-3 result, a hat-trick to her name with goals in the 16th, 26th and 35th minute, keeping her team in the hunt until the very end. That's it from Game 2 here at the Hazley Crawford Stadium. We'll return with action in Game 3. It's a Tier 1 encounter in Group A between Trinidad and Tobago and Aruba.
Simply about how many games you win, but more about how many lives you touch. This is why we do it. Because football is life.
Because we know firsthand the power football can positively change lives.
Because there's nothing else we'd rather do.
Because our hearts beat football.
Because there's nothing quite like representing your country.
For the love of the game.
Por el amor.
Pour l'amour. I'd leave the war.
For the love of the beautiful game.
Our world is filled with rhythm. Rhythm that's unapologetic, infectious, timeless. Rhythm is commitment in action. It's how we show up for each other with unrelenting support that goes the distance. Rhythm lives in the tiny beats of our most intimate moments and the seismic roars of our biggest achievements. Rhythm is resilience in motion. So, even when things go out of sync, we do what it takes to bring the rhythm back. At Flow, we understand your rhythm because we live it. That's why we're dedicated to building a network as resilient as you, with a team of familiar faces working every day to keep you on beat. You're at the heart of everything we do, and our commitment is to keep your rhythm flowing, no matter what.